What is going on, guys? Dub Gaming here, and JV released a new 0304 draft class, so I decided to do a rebuilding challenge with that. I'm going to try to rebuild the New York Knicks, who for the 3 or 4 years that Isiah Thomas was in charge were terrible. This is what the other teams are looking like. This Lakers team, how the hell the Pistons beat them is beyond me. Dirk and Steve Nash on the Mavs. Jason Kidd won at the time when he was the best point guard in the league with the Nets. The Pistons very good. Vince Carter balling with the Raptors. Was that his last year with the Raptors before he went to New Jersey? I'm not sure. Yao Ming and Steve Francis before they got T-Mac. This is the only kind of thing that's a little bit off in this draft, that rather than having the Seattle Supersonics with Rashard Lewis and Ray Allen, he has the Seattle Supersonics from 95-96. That's the only thing I can see noticeably wrong with this draft. Gilbert Arenas, Larry Hughes. This is even a strong Wizards team. AI leading the Sixers. Michael Redd, he's one of the players I just completely forgot about it. I completely forgot about him. He was on the Redeem team. He was an unbelievable player. Paul Pierce pretty much leading the Celtics by himself. Pau Gasol with the Grizzlies. And even, I was just wondering, I was like, how were they that bad? But to be honest, the Hornets or the Bobcats at the time didn't exist. But fuck it, it's a rebuilding challenge. We're going to get their pick. Giving away 2 good players. We just want to get rid of Dikembe Mutombo's contract here. So we get Latrell Sprewell and the best number 1 overall pick of all time, Michael Olowokandi. So obviously the first this season isn't going to be great because our team is weak. I traded the majority of our players. All we really have now is Marbury, Sprewell, and no one else of any real relevance. Michael Olowokandi is our starting centre. That shows how bad this team is. And we end up with the worst record in the NBA, 12-70. Kevin Garnett winning MVP just like he did in that season. Did he? Kevin Garnett won MVP in 0304, didn't he? Pretty sure he did. Richard Jefferson winning Most Improved, and Byron Scott coaching the Shaq and Kobe led Lakers wins Coach of the Year. LeBron James makes the All-NBA first team in his rookie season, and Lamar Odom makes the All-NBA first team. The All-Rookie first team, just LeBron, Melo, Bosh, Wade, and for some reason Jerry and Grant's there. All-Rookie second team, Kamen, Bogans, TJ Ford, Boris Diaw. So look at the conference standings. The Detroit Pistons top of the East, and we actually have the picks of the 2 teams of the 2 worst records in the NBA. So there's a good chance that we can get picked 1 or 2, and it pretty much guarantees that we'll get picked 1 anyway. So we'll be getting Dwight Howard. So Penny Hardaway was our team's top scorer, followed by Starbury, Latrell Sprewell, and Michael Olowokandi. And this year, Detroit Pistons beat the Lakers in real life, and they actually end up winning again by beating the Spurs. So the NBA draft lottery comes up. We have a 44% chance, I think, of getting the number 1 pick. So it'll be pretty much a disaster if we don't get it. Everything's going good so far. It's looking good. We've got 2 of the top 3 at worst, and the Blazers get 3rd. So we get the top 2 picks in the NBA draft. Which means obviously we have Dwight Howard, and then I don't know what we're going to do with the 2nd pick. Got our starting centre for the future. Because he came out of high school, they have him down as College Minnesota. We then trade the 2nd pick for the 6th pick and the Jazz pick next year. And we also save $3 million by getting rid of this guy. So with the 6th pick, we pick Josh Smith, who in my opinion, if he had been in the right situation, could have been one of the best players in this draft. Could be one of the best players in the NBA if he was in the right situation. We then trade Sprewell for the 7th pick because I noticed that Andre Iguodala was still there, and I really like him, so I was taken. We then trade, I think it was the 20-something pick for the Bulls pick next year. Free agency, our two main guys are Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. Two of the main players in the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns. We then signed Boris Diaw as well, and I completely forgot that he was a shooting guard coming into the NBA. And this isn't a Javier draft class because he doesn't have 2005, but look at this. CJ Paul, Carmelo Fry, Robin Bogut, Monty Ellis Jr., Andre Bynum, DeAndre Granger. This is what team's looking like. Steve Nash, Iggy, Jay Smoove, Amare, Dwight, Penny, Boris Diaw, who was moved to centre earlier in this thing, in this version of the scenario than he was in real life. He went from a shooting guard to a centre over the course of about 4 years because he started putting on weight. But immediately, our team is doing a lot better. With Nash and Amari, of course we were. And Dwight Howard as one of the best young players in the NBA. Not a chance we're accepting any trade. So we're 39-13, doing extremely well coming up after the All-Star break. We're top of the Eastern Conference. I think we're probably not ahead of the Los Angeles Lakers because I think they kept Shaq and Kobe, so that's still a super team. 61-21, which is extremely good considering we had the worst record in the NBA last year. Shaq winning MVP and Josh Smith with 18-8 actually winning Rookie of the Year. David West winning 6th Man of the Year. Michael Redd winning Most Improved Player and Byron Scott winning Coach of the Year again. Ron James in his second year on the All-NBA second team. And Steve Francis on one of the All-NBA teams. Our rookie first team, we got Andre Iguodala and Josh Smith. And Dwight Howard didn't make any of the All-Rookie teams. Which is weird considering the fact that he was not only the number 1 pick, he was also the highest rated rookie. So Amari with 20 points a game, 9 rebounds. Dwight, who's rated 83 overall, his high points total for the game was 13. He didn't take more than 11 shots in a game. So it's a bit like Dwight this year. In fairness, he did average 10.2 rebounds a game in 29 minutes, which is insane. Boris Diaw, his backup, averaged 9.2 points. Josh Smith and Iggy combining for nearly 38 points a game. And Steve Nash with a double-double. So we come up against the Allen Iverson-led Sixers, and they're no real trouble. We end up sweeping them. They've got Jamal Mashburn as well, Chris Kaman, Josh Howard, so this is not that bad a team. Come up against the T-Mac-led Orlando Magic in the second round. We go 2-1 down, lose home court advantage. Got 3-2 down, but end up beating them in 7 games to face off against LeBron in the conference finals. We go 2-0 up, winning both games in New York. We then lose both games in Cleveland, lose game 5 in New York, and LeBron James closes it out in Cleveland. Lamar Odom is actually the best player on this team for some reason. Steve Francis, Michael Redd, Elton Brand, Trevor Ariza, and for some reason Nick Stauskas, who's still in it. You're never going to get perfect with made up draft classes. But anyway, the Cleveland Cavaliers win and Lamar Odom is finals MVP. We then trade Nash for a pick and the number 1 pick, just so we can get, CJ Paul, Chris Paul, one of the best point guards for the future. And Nash is 32 at this stage. We then trade for the 5th pick. And we get Monty Ellis Jr. Monte Ellis. We traded Penny Hardaway for the 10th pick, and we pick Andrew Bynum to back up Dwight Howard. And free agency, we have a lot of money because it's a young team, and we signed Steve Francis. We then straight away trade Steve Francis for Stephon Marbury, which means we've got Marbury back. We might win a ring with Marbury. This is where our team's looking like. Chris Paul, Monte Ellis, Iguodala, Amari Stoudemire, Dwight Howard, Stephon Marbury, Boris Diaw, Andrew Bynum, Jay Smoove, and Victor Askew, who I'm not even sure if he was in the NBA at that stage. I didn't sign him, I just skipped through, and I know for a fact Sanjalia wasn't, whatever his name is, wasn't in the NBA in 2004. So anyway, we start off this year really well. we're on a massive winning streak to start the year. We end up 16-1, which is really good. Not a chance we're taking any trades. Even if it is Darnell Williams for Dwight Howard. That's Darren Williams, by the way. That was the joke. But anyway, not a chance. Michael Olowokandi, even though he is possibly the best number 1 pick of all time, we are not trading away Andrew Bynum from. We're not trading Iggy, not a chance of that. So coming into the All-Star break, we have won 45 games, which is better than last year anyway. So we're top of the Eastern Conference by 3 games over Cleveland, who are extremely strong. But the Minnesota Timberwolves are actually the best team in the NBA, who are led by Sam Cassell, Kevin Garnett, and Joe Smith. Yes, Joe Smith. Oh, sometimes things are a bit too unrealistic. The Cavaliers actually have Peja Stojakovic playing at the 3, and LeBron is down at the 2. So leading scorer is T-Mac, followed by Melo. And then Isaiah Ryder is actually the 4th top scorer in the league. Our main man is Amare, followed by Monte Ellis, Chris Paul, and Iggy. Stephon Marbury chipping in with 12.1 points a game. And Bynum with 9.4. DL and Smith still scoring well. Dwight doing everything well except scoring. He's still only averaging 5 points a game. We've no one in the race for MVP, no one in the race for Rookie of the Year. We did have 2. Chris Paul and Monte Ellis in the race for Rookie of the Year, but Deron Williams leading it, and Stephon Marbury looking like he could get 6th Man of the Year. Most improved player, Steve Blake. Jeez, it showed how bad that season must have been. Our All-Stars were Amari Stoudemire and Iguodala. So we start to do even as well as we were before the All-Star break after it. And we end up winning 68 games. Tim Duncan winning MVP. So he wins 3 MVPs in this. Deron Williams winning Rookie of the Year. Raymond Felton winning 6th Man of the Year. Rakeem Felton. Steve Blake winning Most Improved. Sam Mitchell winning Coach of the Year. It's the All-NBA first team. There's 2 Lakers on it, of course. And Rip Hamilton made the All-NBA third team, which is mad. All-Rookie first team, Chris Paul made it, and Monte Ellis made the All-Rookie second team. So we're facing the Bobcats in the first round, who I think, is this their first year as a team in real life, 04-05? I'm pretty sure it was. Actually no, it's their second year as a team. They have Sharif Abdul-Rahim, Mehmet Okur, Keith Van Horn, Yao Ming. They managed to get him. So this is not a bad team. Kevon Looney, obviously a little bit of a... These created rosters are never going to be perfect. We go up against the T-Mac led Magic and we end up beating them 4-1, even though T-Mac and Barton Davis, it's not a bad team. We then face the Washington Wizards, who I think still have Arenas, do they? And we sweep them. Yep, Gilbert Arenas, still a solid team. Chris Paul doing work for us. Richard Jefferson, Jameson, Marcus Camby, and Boban, but that's a very nice team for the Wizards. Detlef Schrempf leading the Timberwolves with Kevin Garnett, Joe Smith, Vujicic, Sean Marion. So this is a solid team. We were slightly better in the regular season, but they take game 1 in New York. We end up taking 3 games in a row, which gives us a chance to close it out in game 5 in New York. We take an early lead and they never recover from that. They bring it back to 3 points, but in the end it's a 7-point win. So yeah, the New York Knicks, with Isiah Thomas, were one of the most dysfunctional franchises in the NBA. With players like Steve Francis, Stephon Marbury, even Allen Houston's $20 million contract, Eddie Curry, it was one of the worst franchises of all time. And in this series, I've managed to rebuild them with Amare, CP3, Dwight Howard, Iggy, Josh Smith. So it's pretty much a super team. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.